Well, the impact of COVID-19 is also making its presence felt in the traditional activities of the religious community. Palm Sunday marking the start of Holy Week, but will it be the same? With us this morning is Anglican Archdeacon Keith Cartwright from St. Agnes Anglican Church. Father Cartwright, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
It's wonderful. Yeah. Let's first take a look at the significance behind Palm Sunday. Like I noted, it's the start of the Holy Week.
It certainly is the start of Holy Week, and of course, we have been journeying from Ash Wednesday with our 40-day wilderness experience, and it has been a wilderness experience for us in the Bahamas in these later weeks of Lent, and we come to the final portion of those 40 days, starting with Palm Sunday, with Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem. And of course, all over the world, Christians reenact that triumphant entry with the blessing and distribution of palms and the traditional Palm Sunday procession, and then the liturgy continues thereafter. And so in our Anglican church, and I'm sure in other mainline churches, we have been encouraging persons to begin preparations for Palm Sunday by getting a palm branch out of their yards or their little gardens, whatever, or some greenery, and having that prepared for when we begin our Palm Sunday service. Actually, Palm Sunday services will be coming from St. Agnes Church. We had to do the service with, taped the service with less than 10 people, and that will be coming on ZNS at 11 o'clock on Sunday. And you'll see what we have asked our persons to do, and we'll have the traditional Palm Sunday liturgy. So, and then all through Holy Week, we will have Maundy Thursday service coming from Christ Church Cathedral, and that will be with less than 10 persons, and with the Dean, and that will be at 8 o'clock on Thursday evening. Then Good Friday, there'll be the service coming from Holy Trinity, and that will be a service on Good Friday morning. And then Holy Saturday evening, there'll be a service coming from Christ the King here in New Providence. And then on Easter Sunday, via ZNS, there will also be a service coming from Christ Church Cathedral at 11 o'clock. And so in our church, we have already booked ahead of time TV spaces on ZNS and Cable Bahamas, and using our diocesan website and so on. So those will be the ways in which we hope to be able to get across to our members. Now, what we have also initiated during this period is a diocesan-wide morning devotion that we have taped and used via our diocesan website, and also via WhatsApp with the pastors, each of our pastors distributing the WhatsApp messages to all of their church groups and friends and members.
Now, I know you said you have encouraged parishioners to gather branches.
Yes.
I know in the Catholic Church, that branch should be affixed to the door on Palm Sunday. Yeah. It's quite a departure from what regularly happened in terms of parishioners being given palms once they reached the church and walking around the perimeter of the church or in the neighboring community.
The procession, yes.
What other changes has COVID-19, brought to bear on this entire week, a significant time in the church's calendar?
Well, the biggest challenge is getting the liturgies of the individual holy days out to the people. And, they have been those who are very faithful Christians who practice their faith. They all come to the church, and these are very symbolic things that are done. And so it's a very, very difficult task for us now to transfer that to the television or to the internet or to the WhatsApp or whatever. So that's the biggest challenge. And then, when people are together, it brings a certain atmosphere. And so, but we have to remember that the church is not the building, but it is you and I. Mm-hmm. When you are baptized, you are made a part of Christ, and you are made a part of Christ's body, which is the church. So we are the church. And so we have to readjust by saying, well, look, I am a part of Jesus Christ. Wherever I am, I'm confined now in my home. I'm taking the best advice. I'm trying my best to not help to spread this virus. Let me stay at home, and let me as the church worship in my home using all the necessary things that we have been able to share with our church members at the time.
On that note then, how difficult has it been for you pastoring during this period?
Well, it has been extremely difficult because, first of all, as a pastor, at least being a pastor for over 38 years, I'm used to being close with people physically in terms of being next to them in their time of trouble, being able to listen to them close by. And in many cases, particularly in very trying times, the priest really has to touch you, bless you on your forehead, anoint you in the case of sickness, shake your hand, give you a hug, and be a comforting spirit next to you. And this has been a tremendous challenge for us as Christians, because we are a contact church where people really get together. And so this is a tremendous difficulty for us as Christians.
Would you say then that, is it safe to presume to say that this is a test of faith, and not only for your congregants or your parishioners, but for you yourself?
Well, yes, but I try to comfort my parishioners over the phone or during my WhatsApp messages by saying to them, remember, before Jesus began the most important thing that he came to earth for, his ministry for those 3 years, he had a 40-day wilderness experience. And maybe this is what God is saying to us. We need a wilderness experience. We need to be quiet. We need to be still and to reflect and really repent in many ways when we compare what God expects of us and what we really have been doing ourselves, and say, look, I've got to do better. And look at home and family life. More than ever before, we in the Bahamas need to emphasize home and family life. We have been saying that this is the root cause of so many of our societal problems. And if we only get back to the basics of home and family life, use this time to repair home and family life, the relationships at home, build those relationships. And then when we emerge after this period of wilderness, then we can be a better Bahamas.
Your church lies in the inner city area.
Yes, it does.
Would you say, from your experience, because I know you haven't spent your entire time there, would you say that it's, having observed things, how are residents in that area observing the curfew?
Well,
are they taking heed?
Yes, well, it has been an extremely challenging time in the Grantstown, the inner city areas of New Providence. Because of the sheltering facilities that our people have, very small homes, some of them not adequate, people basically are on top of people. They're living in close quarters. And so with the heat and with people having to be forced to be indoors, it's extremely difficult for the Grantstown and Baintown communities for them to remain at home. And so at the initial beginning, many of them were spilling over into the streets. Unfortunately, many of them were not doing the right sort of things. Many of them were choosing to have alcoholic beverages and have a party atmosphere. It has quieted down somewhat, but it is still not where we ought to be. And so we urge our people to try to be as innovative as possible, to try and stay home, try to stay calm, try to stay doing little things in the small yards that they have, and do as best they can. But please, please stay at home.